Fucking real.
Let's
Gaz,
go.
Brodie,
Oh, yeah.
welcome to Fucking Real, boys.
Thanks for having us here, bro.
It's an honour. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, fucking welcome to Perth in general, man. We had the men's group yesterday.
What a great
Men's
day.
runners.
Wasn't it?
Fucking amazing, eh?
It was sick, man.
Yeah. What was the highlight for you guys? I don't know. I mean, I haven't had really time to fully digest what went on yesterday at that men's group, man. It was like when people have asked me how it was, I was just all I can say is powerful. Like
Super powerful day.
yeah,
I think so many men are leaving that day yesterday definitely lighter, you know, which is great. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good to get involved in that shit. I was super excited about it.
yeah. We've had like about 5 testimonials come through already, man, and like long ones of like how fucking it's changed their lives, their perspective on how they see things, more motivated to do do things. Yeah, it was beautiful. Steve was sending them through this morning.
It was a great group, man. It was definitely a great group. And, you know, like breathing is everything. Like breath work, you know, the 9D breath work is everything to me. And, you know, being on the mat and breathing, but also holding space, it's just like so much. You get so much out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, helping men heal is awesome.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I love it.
Yeah.
I live for it now.
Yeah, it would have been pretty cool. Because I facilitate breathwork more than I actually do it.
Yeah.
So it was good to actually have the opportunity to sit
Jump
down,
on the mat.
yeah, and have you boys facilitate it as well, man. I felt like it was quite an honour to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I took the opportunity to do it yesterday, and especially with the energy that was in the room, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty special.
We had an awesome journey.
Yeah.
Like witnessing you breathing, and you could see that you were right amongst it. It was good, man. Yeah. You breathe like a steam train.
Hey.
Hey, you're getting right into it, weren't you?
Yeah, man. I don't hold back when doing it, eh?
Yeah.
Like I don't hold back really in anything I do. Don't sort of do.
That's right.
Don't cut corners. Oh, yeah, go pretty hard at most things.
It's a good metaphor for life, isn't it?
But you know, like it's also with things that aren't so good for me. I've done in fucking. I don't do it in halves either, man. You know, like a lot of us.
And on saying all that, you know, like the feedback, I dropped a post last night. The feedback I got from it, you know, so many people don't know about it.
Yeah.
Like majority of the comments are, what is this? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
Why are they crying?
Yeah, like
What's
happening?
And if I have time to explain what was happening, it's not as powerful as the content I dropped yesterday, which is just me and Brodie holding space for a bunch of lads on the mat, breaking through and releasing those deep, dark emotions that they've buried. And so, like, that's where the power's at on the internet, you know, with content-wise. But so many people don't get it. And I suppose if I turned around and just put a camera in front of me and said, do you just want to know about breath work? It wouldn't go way as far as, you know, how powerful that content was of blokes screaming and crying during their journey. So it's like it's a balancing act, trying to get the message out there, subliminally planting the seed, because, you know, that's going to be worth, I can guarantee, a collective millions of views, you know.
Yep.
But I wouldn't get that reach if we were just sitting in front of the camera telling them about it.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Like one of my fastest growing podcasts is the 9D breathwork one.
Yeah.
It jumps up fast, man. Like it's a huge topic. Everyone's interested in it because, I mean, we know how fucking powerful it is, man, for, you know, not only just trauma and stuff like that, but also just clarity, man. Like sometimes I'm just like, got it. Fucking just something clicks, that, you know, helps you see things better in your own life and helps you to release stuff. And but, you know, just on the note of the scream and the cry, because I know that with people, you know, with the guys that sort of stand on the other side of the fence with it and they look at breath work, like you can tell they're interested in doing it, but it's also
unknown.
resistance of that unknown, you know, to go and do it. Because when I'm sort of just trying to put myself in their shoes, when they see the screams, you know, even with the men movement with some of their posts that they do, you know, it's just got these big boys go, you know. But what, you know, like what goes on there in those screams?
It's massive method to the madness.
Yeah.
Like huge. There's a lot behind that psychologically, you know, mind, body and soul. It's very empowering. I mean, we can explain it, but do you think they're going to get the impact they would from us explaining it or doing it?
Yeah, no, they definitely got to fucking do it.
Take our word for it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just dive the fuck in, man.
Yeah.
Give it a go. Give it a go. You won't fucking regret it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
How you know, like the thing I love about the 9D breathwork, especially in those big men's groups, man. Like when everyone takes their headphones off and sits up, and everyone's like, "What the fuck
just happened?" Yeah.
And the best part is they don't need to come there knowing how they're going to heal it or change anything. At the end of the day, if they've got things that are holding them back from living their best life or being the best partner or the best father, if they just show up and breathe, their body's going to expel that stuff from them anyway, whatever they've been holding on to since they were a kid. Yeah. And a lot of that stuff, they don't even realize they're still holding on to it, but they're putting onto their kids or putting onto their partner because they haven't dealt with it.
Yeah.
You know, and when your body stores and holds a score of that trauma, the only way you're going to get rid of that is through the power of the breath. Yeah. So all you got to do is show up. You don't need to know how it's going to happen. You just got to rock up to the event and breathe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man, that's so true. Like I tell people all the time, like they feel like they got to have something to come to these events. Man, just show up, be part of the community. Even if you're in a strong place, man, a powerful place, like just rock up, man. You can give that energy to the boys that need it, and
it's well worth it, 100%.
What did you think of the guilt and shame?
Yeah, man. Like I actually unpacked something that it was buried for a very long time. You know, I haven't said it to anybody, so it was crazy. You know, something I don't want to talk about. It was men's business that day yesterday, so it was personal. But I showed up, and I think the reason why I brought that to the surface, what empowered me to do that was seeing the other lads that were there for the first time struggling with addressing their shame and guilt. Yeah. So I wanted to show up for them and show them how you be a real man and stand in that king energy and admit your wrongs, you know.
You done that well, by the way, man. I saw that.
Yeah. There was one thing there that was really hard to do with my dog anyway. That never been mentioned. Like even Brodie on the way home said, you know, well, how come have you ever spoke about this? And never. And never, you know. And I can touch base on it, I just won't go deep into it. So what it was, and I suppose that's the whole therapy of what we did yesterday, me being able to talk to Brodie with it about it, and then even just mention slightly about it now was why I was in active addiction. So I was cooked on drugs. My dog was pregnant, had pups, and looking after those pups, cooked, been up for 3 days. You know, I had to feed them through a tube, and that tube you can either go down the esophagus, we can go into the lung, and so like I 5 of them didn't survive, you know, in a row because they couldn't feed off the mum because they were sick, and I had to feed them. And I'm sure if I had been straight, I would have nailed it, or I would have had some access to someone that would have helped me. But just being up for 3 days erratic, just trying to make it happen, and you know, 5 times in a row, like we lost 5 out of 10. Because of me being in active addiction, and that's some shame and guilt I've held for ages. And my dog was like, I've got a limp puppy in my hands, I'm crying. You know, she's like my baby, you know, and she's licking my face, like saying, it's okay, Dad. It's all right. I've got your back still, you know. And it's like, wow. Like that's as deep as I can sort of go on it because it'll get me emotional. But yeah, it's fucking, I don't have kids that are misses, as you know, Dave. So like my dog's everything. And so like, but I've never mentioned that to anybody. It was just me and her. Me and my dog, 3 o'clock in the morning in a trap house, in a drug den, trying to keep these puppies alive. And I failed, you know. I failed her, you know. Like so, but to speak yesterday, and what brought it out of me to speak about it was to do with, you know, the men that were there that had just stepped into their healing journey. And I'm no veteran, but I've been doing it a couple of years now, on and off, so I get it. And like if I can admit that, then I'm sure they can show up for themselves then too, and it lifted an energy off me too, you know. And I can't talk about it; it's been buried. But then Brodie and me had a conversation in the Uber on the way home for about 10 minutes. Yeah. So that's all the therapy right there, you know.
I guess like you know, and it is being that leader. Like 2 things there. It was a little bit everyone's standoffish at the start, but once you get a few people coming up and releasing some of this guilt and shame that we have as men. Did you notice that? Fuck, then it's just bang, 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 bang. 100. Everyone's just getting comfortable and doing it. And guys are going up 3 or 4 times, bro, because they felt it. And even for myself, man, and I don't mind sharing this, but it's the first time, and I've done that particular exercise a few times.
Yep, same, yeah.
And it's never come up. And fuck, man, like for me, holding on guilt and shame so when I was 14 years old and my mum was crying up at night, you know, and I'm sitting with her, telling her everything's going to be all right. You know, she's 6 months pregnant. You know, she's in a pretty bad way, man. She's crying and, you know, shit like that. And I was just up trying to as a 14-year-old boy, just trying to tell her everything's all right, Mum. You know, we're going to be good, going to be that. And, she ended up saying like, fuck, well, we're going to go to bed now and all that. And I slept in the spare room that was opposite hers just to make sure I was there for her and everything. And then waking up in the morning, finding her dead through suicide. And I've just held on to that guilt and shame of like, fucking, I went to sleep that night when my mum was like that. I shouldn't have fucking slept. I should have stayed up. And I know you can say it's not your fault, Dave, and all the rest of it, but that's what come up for me yesterday, bro.
Yep.
And it felt good to actually just say that and be seen with it and to be, to have it out.
Yeah. Well,
and it was huge.
All power to you, brother, for bring that to surface, and it lifts that energy off. Does when you say it, like you stand in that energy. Take a deep breath in, you hear what you're saying, and something just comes off you. It doesn't happen like that, but after 10, 20 seconds of standing there and realizing what's just said, and it's the energy that you've put out has penetrated the room, it's like, wow. It's like, the therapy in that is huge, man. Yeah. It's big, it's powerful. I love it. Yeah. And, some of the guys there, some of the things they were saying, you're like, wow, credit to you for owning that. Like so much credit,
and all the different walks of men that showed up too, man. We got to respect those men that were there and can't really talk too much about it. But
of course,
we had all sorts, man. We had young, we had old, we had fit, we had unfit. We had fucking people that've never done boxing before. Never done breathwork before. We had people that are coming off addictions. We had people in addictions. We had people fucking all sorts, man. It was.
And, it's like, so what I don't know if I spoke to you about it, I think I mentioned it, but so prior to, like, I think it was about 3 or 4 days early to flying here and getting the job done with you guys and the starting line and stuff, I was speaking to an Indigenous fella that, he's been out, he was heavy in the game, went to jail for cooking drugs, serious violent offender, all that sort of stuff. And he owns a business called Garner Healing. So, and we went to Crown Casino in Melbourne. We had a dinner, and I told him how I'd been getting involved in helping men heal and my healing journey. And I said, so what's this Garner Healing, And we had a chat, and bro, we were both like dumbfounded because it's so, what we are doing is exactly what he's been doing for years, but that's his culture for thousands of years. It's ceremonial. They call it men's business. It's telling your story, sitting around the campfire, and men expressing their emotions, and it's that's full mesmerism. No women are allowed at their these events that he has. Or I don't even think we call them events. They wouldn't, because they do them in the bush and gatherings. Yeah. And so I was like, wow, like this is so ancient what we're doing. What the boys at Amanda and yourself and Power Breath and Hope Cartel and all those. This has been going on for thousands of years all over the world. But we've been
fucking blocked out. This is the message we need to get out there, man. There's higher powers trying to stop us from having this fucking natural connection to wellness.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm extremely passionate about, because we need to wake the fuck up as men, as humans now, and really dive into it, because this is ancient stuff.
It is.
And we've been deprived of this information. That's why they don't have it in schools.
Yeah.
All these fucking mainstream things and big pharma, I'm going to call it,
It's like, of course.
Even just with plant-based medicine in general, bro.
Yep.
And it's maybe not for everyone, and some people like some things and others, but it's certainly an option that needs to be put on the table when people are suffering with mental health.
Yeah, sure.
Not just antidepressants or.
I think what it is with that, obviously, Dave, I'm a guy from sobriety. I wave the sobriety flag, and I know people that are veterans at the sobriety game, NA, AA, rehab, stuff like that, and just to talk to them about taking I don't even want to call plant medicine a drug, but taking a substance to get off another substance sounds crazy to them. I'm open to the idea, but it is touchy ground for guys like ourselves that have an open mind and are deep in organic recovery. It is definitely a good option.
Sure.
But I would warn anybody out there, you wouldn't want someone coming out of a full psychosis on ice and then drinking some ayahuasca or smoking some DMT in a trap house thinking it's going to fix them.
No.
If they're trying to find themselves, they'll lose themselves forever. Yeah. So it's got to be done very ceremonial, very ceremonial. Let it find you. Don't try and find it. Get your clean time up first. really ground yourself. Do the work, the breath work, the ice baths, the exercise, finding Mother Nature, finding yourself. Do all that first before you step into that medicine healing journey, because it is, I'm open to it. I'm that sobriety guy that wouldn't write it off. No, I'll definitely go on my journeys for sure, but it'll find me. I'd like to do it probably not in this country, go to Peru or something like that, South America, Colombia, go into the jungle, sit with the tribe, proper, have a shaman on side, and then go on my,
so that's what
journey.
So I've interviewed a few people on ayahuasca that do run it here in Australia, or involved with it, I should say, and they can find that on previous podcasts that I've done. And the message, like, that's a very important message, bro, especially coming out of sobriety and drug addiction and things like that, bro. It's a good message, man. And, just to back that up, I would also say that you need to reach out. Like, the people I go and see, they don't just let you in and say, here we go, we're doing it, here it is.
Of course.
It's you got to do a pre-counselling session where they want to know who you are. Are we going to let you into our circle? Where are you at? They ask you all those questions. What's your background? Because they want to make sure it's a fit for both people, because it isn't something you just go and dive into, man.
No,
that's 100% right. And having a shaman, man. Like, so the shaman that I've done it with is also, man, he spent 9 years in Peru training as a shaman, and you need someone that can facilitate those ceremonies, because at the end of the day, and I also like what you said at the start too, bro, like, it's not a drug, man. It's a medicine.
It's not a drug. And that's what it is. I think, if you come from that world where you're used to getting off your head and filling that void with an external solution for an internal problem, it's not that. It's not, you're not getting off. It sounds like someone that hasn't experienced psychedelics or, plant-based medicine, that it is getting off your head. And you are, but you're more connecting to spirit. Yeah. Which is a whole nother world.
I would fully suggest something.
You're not going to connect with spirit drinking alcohol or racking up bags, It's Yeah.
No, you definitely, like, if we were to give one message, I'd say do breath work first.
100%.
That way, because you can come out of any time you want. It's natural. It's natural. Not putting anything in your body. Yeah, for sure.
And for anybody that doesn't know, I'm sure some of your viewers know exactly what we're talking about, but anybody that's new to this episode, when you do breath work, the reason why it is so intense to watch is people are releasing a natural release of DMT. So it is connecting with spirit. It is coming back to self. It is a hell of a spiritual journey, and the healing journey is all spirit and energy. And so, I don't know if you cross over to another realm or what it is, but you definitely go. Well, my mum just done it. I held space for her last week through a men movement. Awesome movement. I love the men boys. What they're doing is great all across Australia. Shout out to the men boys. Shout out to Wah. And my mum come out of it. She says, the first thing she says to me, she goes, Garry, I haven't felt like that since the 70s. She goes, when I took mushrooms. Bless her. She's 67 too, Yeah. So
I've taken my daughter to one as well, man.
Yeah.
And I would certainly, look, I'm going to be careful what I say, but there's things I'd make my children try and do before over some other medications that are out there,
For sure.
I think anything natural. And I think with plant-based medicines and like breath work, and even like we had cacao yesterday, man, that's a medicine as well, like a heart-filled,
Tasted like ass.
Yeah. You didn't like it? It was strong, bro. I made it strong.
I got it down.
It was ceremonial dosage, brother.
Tasted putrid. Yeah. But it's good for you.
Yeah. But, like, that's the beautiful thing about our minds, man? Like, when we're going in to do that therapy, our minds will only allow us to deal with what it's ready to deal with too, right?
I'm remembering the taste. Oh, fuck. It was ugly.
I was going to bring some here, man.
Yeah, one hit was enough. Yeah.
But doing it before 9D, bro.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, it's just...
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's ceremonial.
I'm just thinking, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so the event was awesome, but just for those viewers at home, who the fuck are you guys, man?
Just a couple of lads from the western suburbs of Melbourne.
Brodie from Melbourne.
Yeah.
What was it? What's the message that like you said before, bro? That could be the next topic, mate. What was it? Crime.
What was it?
Crime's dumb.
Yeah, more or less.
I can't remember. Crime pays, but only for a little bit, and then you lose everything, doesn't
it? Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you, bro. What's your past, man? What's your background?
Yeah, so I guess like a lot of people probably watching this podcast come from a broken home. Parents broke up when I was 2. I stayed with my mum. She did her best. She was trying to get her nursing degree. And then she found the alcohol. She found the prescription medications. She ended up with a host of different mental illnesses. My dad left, so she felt a little bit abandoned. And she would just, any man she could get, she kind of brought into the home, and they were always the wrong men. They were addicted to alcohol. They were extremely violent. I was always in between trying to break up fights, but I wasn't big enough to really stop her getting hurt, you know. But I was getting kicked out of schools. I got kicked out in prep from St. Dominic's because I brought a bunch of steak knives to school, went in with my Ninja Turtle outfits so we could all dress up. And they didn't like that.
Nah.
So they
But
sent
Ninja Turtles are the best.
Yeah,
man.
they were good.
Yeah,
They were good.
yeah.
Yeah, so I had Ninja Turtle suits and
They didn't
steak
see-
knives.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
see that. My mum said, but my mum was always, he's just your little boy. I couldn't do nothing wrong, you
Yeah.
know. So they sent me across the road to Melbourne Primary, and I was just fucking up heaps there. And I got asked to leave that school as well. So I was running out of schools to go to, and I think I was just sick of watching my mum get beat up. So I left my mum when I was 10 and moved in with my old man. And my dad was very different. He was actually very strict. He had lots of boundaries, whereas my mum, she was just doing her best, but by that stage she was on drugs and alcohol, and you know, she wasn't very present. She was trying to finish a nursing degree, but I think she was just brokenhearted because my dad wasn't there, and they were together when they were 16.
Right.
So anyway, I left and I went and moved in with my dad, and you know, I really struggled with all the rules and boundaries, and he had a new wife and they had their own kids, and I felt like an outcast. And mind you, while I'm dealing with all this, I would occasionally go see my mum, but by that stage she was just in hospitals. She was in, you know, psychiatric wards and all that type of stuff. Whenever I'd see her, she'd have black eyes, or her 2 front teeth would be punched in, or you know, she'd try to kill herself or something like that. So eventually it would just be like 3 years at a time. I just wouldn't speak to her. So then I'm with my dad, but by the time I'm 16, I'm just like not wanting to be in the house because I just feel like I'm always getting in trouble for something. I feel like an outcast. I feel like they've got their own family and I'm kind of like not meant to be there. That's how I felt. So I ran away somewhere between the ages of 16, 17. I climbed out the window. I went and lived on like park benches. I was stealing food from like Safeway and Coles and cooking it at the local park and stuff like that. And I couch surfed for, 7 or 8 years. I didn't really have a home. But I wasn't getting in that much trouble. I was just fucking broke, and I would be like stealing food from the shops, and maybe that was it. But I was never really the cool kid. I was never really that popular. I didn't feel like I was getting any love or validation or respect from anywhere, and I wanted that. And then I was at this house, and Garry rocked up, and he'd just finished doing like a 3-year or 5-year stretch for drugs and stuff like that. And anyway, when I first seen him, it was like something out of fucking, what is that, American History X or something? I don't know what that movie is with the fucking, you know, the ripped guy just gets out of jail. I remember looking at him from, this guy's a bad man, you know? He's a fucking bad. He looked different then. He was fit. He had a 6-pack and that, you know? He was ripped, you know, tough cunt. And I thought, fuck, this guy is a bad dude, you know? And the girls loved him, and he fucking had a nice car.
And that was all a
gold and
mask,
that.
wasn't it? That was the person I was trying to
Yeah,
deceive.
but I didn't know it then. I just
that
thought this guy's
identity I was
a
trying to
bad
show
dude.
up and
Yeah.
prove to people that I was that. But yeah, go
And
on.
I thought, you know, this guy, if this guy was around me, no one would ever pick on me again. You know, everyone would think I was cool. I want to be like that. So I asked him, you know, what do I do? How do I get the respect in the streets? And he taught me a few little moves, you know, which nearly cost me 25 years of my life. So we ended up being best mates. You know, we moved in together. And we'll probably, I don't know, hanging out for maybe 5 years before the SWAT team rocked up to the house and said, Brodie Nitro, Garry Wright, get on the ground and crawl out the front like the dogs you are. That's what they said to us. And we crawled out, and they had their fucking semi-machine guns. They'd parked their fucking armoured truck in our driveway. We didn't even hear them rock up. They're like ninjas. Zip tied us, threw me in the back of the car. Like, I'm the young fella. And they said, look, mate, at the end of the day, we know you're the young one. Just give up your mate, Garry. He's going to get 25 years. You're looking at 25. But if you let us know it was all him, you know, we'll give you 2 or 3 years. Because if not, someone else is going to end up fucking your girlfriends and you're never going to see anyone again. This is literally what the police said to us. But yeah, obviously, I just pled not guilty to everything. And I ended up with 8 trials. 8 trials, 7 or 6 of them were for kidnapping. Yeah. And if I had got found guilty on any of them, I was looking at 20 years on the bottom. But I don't think I really registered that then. I think I was still in that lifestyle. So it was almost like a badge of honor. It was almost like, well, if I get out, that's great. And if I don't, I can say I did 20 years. Like, but that's so yuck. Like how fucking dumb that is. But I still wanted that respect. I still wanted that admiration and love from someone. But then anyway, I ended up in prison. Things changed in there. Lots of politics and stuff happened. I nearly got stabbed and airlifted out of the prison. There was a bunch of different riots. I ended up struggling with my mental health. I was in solitary confinement for 6 months. I got fed like a dog through a little square. I didn't see another human being.
For 6 months?
Yeah. And at that stage, I didn't know about breath work, meditation. I didn't know how the mind works and how it can play tricks on you. And I just fucking got stuck in my own head, something chronic. And I remember thinking, if this is how life's going to be, I'm not going to stick around for this. But anyway, I ended up beating like 6 of the 7 trials, and I'm on my last trial. And usually, I think I'm still in jail at that time. Usually, my co-accused Simo was sitting next to me, and he was my best friend at that stage. And I rocked up to court, and there was just an empty seat next to me. Like, where the fuck's Simo? And he'd hung himself the night before because,
rest in peace.
Yeah, he wrote in the letter, look, even if I do get out, boys, I don't know how to live on the outside without being a piece of shit. I don't want to keep coming here. And it was just like, fuck. And I thought, I think I can go straight. I think I have got enough, wits about me to maybe go legit. So I got out, but the problem was because he'd just passed away, there was like a wake and a funeral. So all the boys got together again and we all got on it. And then before you knew, I'd spiraled for 6 months and I'd ended up back in prison again, but only on smaller charges. And I could have got out way earlier, but I didn't contact my lawyer enough and I just stayed in there. Yeah, right. And I just did heaps of chin-ups, push-ups, didn't take drugs, didn't get involved in none of the jail politics this time. And just wanted to figure out a way to make money when I got out. And I did. I got out, got a job, worked in construction, ended up investing into this online course, flew around the world, went to personal development events, got involved with that Kangan water opportunity, which fucking changed my life, made a bunch of money and then built a course to teach other people how to escape the 9 to 5, spend more time with their kids, travel the world. And that's when Garry called me.
And also, Brodie went on his entrepreneurial venture. Yeah. And I got out and found drugs. So I got done on one of those cases. We went not guilty on everything. There was one where there was a fight on camera. So one of the charges we were lobbed on was a fight on camera. And I was my alleged coes all had hoodies. So my face was on camera like as big as the screen. So there wasn't a jury in the land that was going to find me not guilty. And so I took a late plea. All the boys, obviously they were innocent, and they fought their trials, and I fought mine, and I dodged the big numbers, but I owed 33 months for this fight. Where it's and while we were talking about shame and guilt prior to it, I own my shit. I went to a house, my alleged coes were with me, and we were looking for a gang leader. I was looking for a gang leader, and he scaled the back fence, and his mum and dad come out the front and confronted us. And his dad ended up in hospital, and his mum got knocked out. And it's crazy to say because what the ripple effect of that was I got 33 months. It's a bit of time. That's no biggie. But what happened while I was in was the ripple effect of that. And karma's real, I paid my dues. I've admitted I'm sorry. They were innocent. They were civilians. They didn't deserve that. Funny thing is, before I go on to the ripple effect, the butterfly effect that happened from that, and not just the prison, was I wouldn't take it back. And it's crazy to say. It sounds crazy, but the reason why is because it made me learn the hard way. And so what happened while I was in prison is my nan and pop passed away. And there's a family heirloom, a photo of my pop on his hospital bed a couple of days before he left this earth, and all his grandchildren around him. I wasn't there, and that's going to be passed down for generations, to kids of kids of kids. And I'm not in that photo, so I definitely paid my dues. Like I said, they were civilians. They didn't deserve that. At that time, and the mentality I had, once again, it's crazy to hear myself say it, but I keep it real, Being on the fucking real podcast, keeping it real. If our mentality was, if we couldn't get you, we'd get your family. you know, which is crazy to think like that now. But that's what happened. And I got out after my 33 months and obviously I was in the game a bit longer than Brodie. So I had some wounds to bandage, you know, a bit more prison, you know, stabbing, shootings, you know, looking over my shoulder from police, dodging, you know, other crews for, you know, over 20 years. And so, I just found drugs. I started to self-medicate, you know.
Was that to to suppress?
What happened was,
well, I guess
it was a high risk, high rewards lifestyle, and the greed and the power. If I'm going to do something, I do it right. And so the greed and the power actually kept me off a full addiction. It kept me, you know, half fit. You know, I looked at the police and other crews as the competition. So what are they doing to better themselves and be the best at what they're doing? I just have to do. It's like a boxer that goes in for a fight. As long as he trains harder than his opponent, he's got a high chance at it. So it was that mentality. Once I walked away on the rest of my life in prison, I thought, turn my back on crime. It's like, wow, I got out of this. Police, if they can't get you for one thing, they'll stitch up for another. That's what it is, you know. We're dealing with a lot of corruption at that time too. You know, they wanted money. We wouldn't give them money. There's a big part of it, you know. And so they tried to bury us on things that, you know, weren't our problem, but they didn't care. Off the streets is off the streets to them. So, you know, all that sort of stuff comes into play. And then anyway, I get out and that was the life I was living. Now I've got no reason to do that anymore. I don't want to do crime anymore, you know. So what am I going to do? Well, I retired. Let's get high, you know. Little I know, I was feeling a massive void.
How long did this go on for, Gaz? I know. I've heard your story a few times, but for those at home, so how long did this period of
drug taking? 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, people in the area I got that far into taking drugs that people in the area thought I had cancer. They thought I was sick. I was dying. People would come up to me, is it true what we heard, Gaz? Are you sick? What do you mean? I'm cooked. Is there something I don't know? Am I sick? You know? Like, what do you mean? Like, I look pretty boned out, but fucking, I'm cooked. Crazy, but man. And it's crazy to laugh about it now, but it is what it is.
How was your you know, because a big part of transformation, man, is your identity and who you see yourself as, or that mask you're talking about. Yeah. You know, even before the men's group yesterday, the main message I wanted to get across at the very beginning was to leave that mask, that armor at that front door. Yep. Come in here, it's a safe place. Because part of being transforming, man, is to fucking lean into this new identity that you want. And for you to go from fucking gangster, having cars, money, chicks, fucking whatever you want to call it.
That materialistic shit.
Yeah. Down to now being fucking seen as like you got fucking cancer and homeless and
I was a crumb, man.
Yeah, and then now to build yourself back up to who you are now.
Yeah.
What's the message in there, bro? You know, like because that's huge, bro.
Yeah. You know, Dave. As you know, I only speak from my life experience. I can only tell it from my lens. And from the life I've lived and how I got through my trials and tribulations. I could tell someone how to do it. I don't know if they're built the same way as me or if they've been through the same shit. I can't say I understand everybody because I only understand what I've been through. But embrace that. We've all got a worry. It's embedded into our DNA. Our ancestors had to fight. You know, they had to go out there to survive, that to hunt, you know, to provide. Like it's built into us. There is a fire in every man. Yeah. You just got to embrace that fire. You know, that you've got to embrace that warrior spirit. You know, unleash that beast. It'll be there somewhere. You know, Some people might be really good at graffiti. You know what I mean? If that's where your beast is, then run the ball up. You know, spray paint till it buys you a home. You know what I mean? So like I would just say you've got to embrace that warrior spirit. You need to embrace that beast inside. Find where your king energy is. Find where that masculine energy is, that positive masculine energy, and stand in it like a man. Yep. That's what worked with me. And why I say that is because I've always had that fight in me, whether it was in school, trying to take on the biggest bloke, which that was just a stepping stone into a shit life. Whether it was in the streets, making people believe that I was the real deal, and if you didn't pay me my money, you were going to get hurt and all that stupid shit, to jail, to standing my ground, and not taking a backward step, because if you show fear in there, it's like blood in the water in the ocean. Sharks they smell it, so you got to show no fear. To then, standing there, and standing by a street code, it's really just fucking, the street code's a motherfucker. That's some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, imagine Brodie had been found guilty. You know what I mean? And just for his brothers, he's going to stick fat. And I'm not telling you, mate, I still have trouble if I had to call the police. I still have, like, it's just embedded to me. I mean, someone climbs through my nan's window, she has to call the police. She's a civilian, I understand that. But just from the life that I was ingrained in, it's very hard. That street code, it's a whole... If I seen a woman or a child in the streets being hurt, someone hurry up and call the police, because that's a liability to my freedom. I'm going to go to prison. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's still a conflict of interest in my own head. That street code, kids die for it. They really do. So that street code...
But there's some importance in it too, man.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people that don't understand it look at it as like a rebel or a bad thing. But there's fucking, like, I mean... like even I guess amongst the bikie codes and stuff like that, okay, cool, being an outsider and stuff like that, they don't paint a good picture in society and community and stuff like that, but some of the principles that they have are fucking good principles. And I guess we can say the same about religions and things as well.
And so, and like, then from, like I said, that same fire in me, that same fight, then, I went on drugs. That got me off drugs as well. Do you know what I mean? So I embraced that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can say this word on the podcast, it's gone on YouTube, but, CUNT, embrace that cunt in me. You know what I mean? Like, where we come from, that's what we call it. And that's your warrior spirit. That's your king energy. And embrace that. And the same thing again, to be where I am today and run the ball up on social media and speak about our shame and guilt. Speak honest, speak real, keeping it real, just staying in my authenticity. I've always been that guy and showed up. A little guy, I've had little man syndrome since high school, so I'm always, it's not the fighting the dog, it's the dog in a fight, all that. And so where I'm going with all this is pretty much, I would say to anybody out there that, fucking dig deep, man. Stay in the fight. You know what I mean? Back yourself into a corner and make it happen. That's where I'm going with it. And that's what I used to where I am today. And I still stay true to it, like I think it takes plenty of ticker to do what we're doing.
I'm like, a word that's coming up for me is resilience as well.
Yeah.
Like, with even drug addiction, we're even coming, even coming out of prison or fucking being brought up in abuse, like seeing a lot of domestic violence. All these things sort of do, strengthen your soul, your ticker, like you're talking about. I guess
it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, doesn't it?
Well, with addiction as well, man. Like, I think the biggest thing as well, like, I mean, fucking everyone suffers with addiction to some sort. Addiction can be 100 million different things. Some are more, in my opinion, some are more destructive than others. I mean, we're talking about meth. It's probably fucking up there as one of the biggest destroyers. Alcohol is another one. But then you've got porn and fucking your phone, and you know, even overthinking is an addiction and stuff, But what I'm trying to get to here, man, like, so, and I want to ask one of you guys is, so, like, what's the key? My opinion is just keep getting up on that horse.
Yep.
Like, you fail, you fuck up. Like, it's about focusing on the percentage of what's great or what's good, rather than sort of always focusing on the negative.
Well, I think you need to have a vision for what it is that you want to create, because if you don't, nothing's going to attract you to that. You know, when you're in downs, when you're in the dumps and shit's hard, if you don't have a goal or a vision that you're striving for, of course you're going to keep giving up. You know, you got to see a version of yourself that's worth fighting for. You know, you got to have that picture in your mind. And sometimes you can't think that for yourself, and that's why it takes a mentor or someone else to see it in you, and then that can change everything for you. I remember working in construction when I'd started to straighten my life out, but I didn't want to work forever. I met a really successful person who said that he could see success within me. He said, look, if you want to have results that are different to everyone else, you're going to have to do something different. And just little things like that, hearing it for the first time, gave me that vision that maybe I could create a different life. And then once you've got that belief, you'll start taking that action. Yeah, so I think that's important.
I like that, bro. And thanks for sharing that. Like a vision, man. You need to see something greater than yourself. You know, like we spoke about it yesterday, Gaz. Like me growing up, I didn't know what university was. I didn't know, like, even I come over here to Australia not having a license because it was fucking normal to just drive around in New Zealand with no license. And so I didn't even know how to do that. But it's that old saying of like, you don't know until you know. So you need to go and educate yourself, I guess. You know, but that vision, man, of what, even if they're small goals,
Yeah, I travelled around the world to keep getting that vision and keep improving my mentors because I'm like a chameleon. Any environment I'm in, I can become. You know, when I was a kid, I could hang around the gangsters and become the 6th gangster, or I could take myself out of that environment and hang around 5 real estate moguls and then end up with a bunch of real estate myself. But I had to be very conscious about where I put myself. Even now, you know, if I was to spend enough time in a drug den, maybe I'll end up using drugs again. So I'm very deliberate about where I put myself. So in the beginning, when you can't afford to travel around the world and go to all them events, you've got to go to the bookstore and get a book, and you got to read that book. I don't like reading. Okay, I also didn't like being fucking broke. Do something about it. You know, so I started reading the books. I started listening to the audio tapes when I was in my car and allowing those people who had the results in life I want to permeate my brain in the way I think about life. And that's when things started to change for me. Because if I kept doing the same shit and staying in the same postcode, I never would have got to where I am today.
Yeah, it's very hard to heal where you've hurt, you know. And I back Brodie on all that all day. Like, he is a chameleon, you know, 100%. He's a very intelligent lad. When I met him, you know, like he asked me, you know, how do I get the respect? It was as simple as this. How do I get the respect you got? And so I give him tools that I'd learned along the way in the streets, and he took them and he adapted them to that environment. And I had heaps of kids working for me, and it sounds crazy to say, but I just have to put this in there. I come from an environment where I was the bloke on the push bike rolling up to the older kids. They were handing me poison to pump into the community. Of course, I was going to become that guy. You're a product of your environment. So I ended up being that older guy that was pumping poison to the kids that are pumping into the community. It doesn't sit well with me. But anyway, where I'm going with all this is Brodie took them tools on. He adapted them. He learned to survive, and heaps of kids fell off along the way. Brodie ended up being my ride and die. He ended up being my right-hand man, you know, years later. And when I met him, he was a pimple-faced kid. He was socially awkward. He'd been bullied at school, you know, stuff like that. He was the last bloke I thought that'd be the real deal in that environment that I was used to. And he ended up being the real deal, you know. He had the minerals. He adapted himself to that environment through everything I said, he fucking sucked it in like a sponge. Years later, you know, Brodie he's had 8 years out of the streets and out the game, adapted himself to a healthy environment. I'm only just about 3 years in. So he's got 5 years ahead of me, you know. And so it was the gift that kept giving. When I went up and seen Brodie in Cairns, just got sober, only been clean a couple of weeks, went and seen him, he had the tools for me to adapt into this positive environment. So, and
tell us about that story, bro, because that's a good story. I like that. I've heard it 3 times. I want to hear it again.
Yeah.
So just taking a step backwards, it was when you come out of prison.
I come out of prison, went on a 5-year bender, ripped myself off, OD'd 3 times, tried to take my own life. Was shot at a bunch of times. You know, lucky they were a bad shot. Stabbed. I had a steak knife hanging out of my ribs one day. Looked down, I was in a fight. I had a steak knife hanging out of my ribs. You could just see the handle. Crazy times, you know. And this was all because I'd fell off on the life of crime. I'd had enough of it. You know, at that stage, you would call me washed up. I didn't want to do crime anymore. Prison, looking at the rest of my life in prison, I'd been there, done that. That was in click of my fingers. What a shit career choice, you know? Like, that's just crazy. Like, you got to be, I'm not that silly, mate, you know? You got to be silly to, you know, go through all that and then go back for more. You won't get that chance again. So I'm done with crime. I will not make illegal money again after that experience. Like I said, I had some wounds to Band-Aid. I had no reason not to get high. You know, I started to self-medicate. I know that now. And, I just consumed drugs. 5-year bender, ripped myself right off. Ended up digging deep, using that fire in me that's always been there. I got clean. White-knuckled it. I come off heroin, ice, benzos, weed, alcohol, and GHB, so juice. The withdrawals were time 10, you know. I felt like I was going to die, literally. Hallucinating, you know, shitting myself. Fucking just a mess, man. Just
How
a
long
mess.
did this
Crying.
go for?
The intense withdrawals, probably about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hardcore 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, hardcore 10 days.
And that's that resilience coming out again that we're talking before, eh?
I just laid down and surrendered to it. I just surrendered to it. I knew it had to be done. You could have chopped my own hands and feet off and told me at the end of this you're going to feel better. I would have said, sweet, chop them. You know, that's what it was. I had to do it. Had to be done. Got clean, wondering what I'm going to do with life. I said to my family, I said, you know, lucky I've got good support network with family and stuff. And I said to them, how about I get a little unit in the area? And they laughed. They thought that was a joke. Oh, yeah, it's 4 weeks clean. Just get a little unit in the area. That's going to do you some favours. Brodie was in the background. He calls my mum, and, you know, his birthdays and Christmases. My family become his family when he was on the streets, you know, and living with me and stuff like that. And he was in the background, and so they were hounding me to go see Brodie. My family was, Brodie was. Yes, one day, no, the next, you know. So they ended up, I think it was a phone call with Brodie, ended up convincing me, you know, if I remember right. He's like, bro, just come up here. Look, grab your dog, head up to Cairns. So I did. Anyway, I ended up going up there. I remember before I left, I was sitting around a table and I said to him, it was just a throwaway sentence. I said, you know, I might try this social media shit. Let's see what Brodie's doing. Try this social media shit. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Didn't have a clue where it was going. Maybe I was manifesting it, whatever, and headed up there, and Brodie put me up in an Airbnb. So he paid for an Airbnb for a month, and we just ate restaurants and went training, you know, and I watched him on his phone, just working his phone like a tool of the trade, you know, leads and marketing, reels, and, you know, branding and all the way he's doing his little thing. And I can see what he's doing. Yeah, I can do this. I can have a crack at this, you know. I was like just watching. Probably been up there about 2 weeks, and we were in a gym. I'll never forget it, like yesterday. And I think sometimes all you need is someone to believe in you. And he says to me, he goes, man, you've got a brand, bro. I said, you reckon? He goes, I'm telling you, bro. It's like, I build people's brands for a living, you know? I help people market themselves and create an income off it. He goes, you've got a hell of a brand, bro, you know? And he says, like, a couple of gym reels, your dog, you've got tattoos, you've got a hell of a story. You're over that life. You want to live a better life. That's a package right there. It's a package and a half for social media. That was enough for me to go, all right, then let's go. So I started just talking to the camera and had the balls to just post it. Didn't care what happened. And then I was handing in, I had to obviously get an income, you know, create some sort of income. So I was handing in some resumes in local shops, and it was the bottle shop of all things. How ironic is that? My dad died of, you know, alcohol, drank himself to death, and I was handing, obviously my resume was doctored. I never worked a day in my life. But yeah, so I was handing my resume to the bottle shop. And it was ironic because I was, you know, if I had been, they had took on that resume and I had been given the job, I would have pushed poison for the community. When I just pushed poison, you know, to the community, for the community, but illegally. I was going to do it legally. Like, it makes no sense. Like, drugs or fucking alcohol, it's all the same shit. What one's legal? Fuck the government, you know? And, anyway, yeah, obviously the world had something in offer for me, and more than that. And I rang Brodie, and I said, he goes, what are you doing? He was just finishing up something. And I said, I'm just handing my resume to the bottle shop. I'll come have coffee with you when I'm done. He goes, your resume to the bottle shop? I said, yeah. He goes, bro, are you posting this? I said, no, because I didn't know nothing about how it works, you know. I was just having a crack. I didn't know what works and what didn't. And he goes, bro, people love that. You know what I mean? You're fresh off the streets, you know, life of crime. You're handing your first resume. You're trying to get a job. You're having a crack. Because that's the shit. And so I posted it. It went viral as fuck, you know. And so, like, obviously that resume to the bottle shop was really my resume to social media. And like I said, it's the gifts that kept giving. These are the things that, you know, Brodie gave me the tools that I'd give him, you know, years later. But go, sorry.
Was that the just from a social media point of view, you know, like so was that the post that went viral?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's viral?
Viral's
still
like
haven't experienced that
million
yet.
Views.
Yeah, right.
Technically, that's legally for whatever on paper that's viral.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then from there, sorry to interrupt the story, because then it went to all your war stories and things.
Yeah. Then I started telling some war stories to get some attention. And that's ironic too. The metaphor behind that's crazy. Like, all my life, I'd had to be the tough guy to get people's attention. Left that tough guy persona behind, wanted to live a normal life, stepped into social media, and had to be that tough guy to get everybody's attention again. It's crazy because if I had been like, hey guys, let's just go get life, everyone, they would scroll straight past me, you know?
True.
But I'm telling a jail story, and I'm talking tough and this and that, rah rah, and everybody wanted to listen. So, but my first jail story is like going over 2.5 years now. I watch them back, they're cringe. But if you listen to them, at the end of them, I say, I'm only doing this, I'm only talking tough to create a platform, to get attention, get people looking my way. As soon as you look my way, I'm going to push a positive message. Like I was saying it right there. Yeah. So my goal was always set in stone. There was a method to my madness. And yeah, man, fucking, like I've heard Brodie say, which is, super empowering to me, that, I'm one of his most biggest successes, virally, which is crazy. And like I said, that is our story is so intertwined. It's definitely the gift that kept giving, Like I said, I've said it before, I say it again, I give him the tools, and I like to think that hustler mentality that he's got today, he might have picked up from the streets and me teaching him how to push that bullshit, but we were. But yeah, years later, he it's like the master and the apprentice, Yeah. The apprentice will always succeed the master, and now he's given back,
It's like the boy teaching his daddy how to fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that. And I love the inspiration that comes out of that from the both of you, man, and again, just talking about like the message that we're trying to put out there, because, look, meth, I mean, was that the drug of choice for you boys? Like that you guys were addicted to, or was it everything?
But me personally, everything. Heroin was my demon.
Okay.
That was the one that soothed my soul at that time. Probably was only a Band-Aid, but yeah, it was heroin.
Because what I want to get out there, man, for me particular, and I don't know if it's just because of my mum, and Brodie, you might relate to this as well, but like, fuck, I want to make better men, or do these workshops and these podcasts and all that, so we can be better, more masculine, healthy men, to be stronger for the woman. Because seeing my mum struggle, and I feel like if she had stronger men around her, she would have been better. And I see these single mums, or these, that are fucking struggling. We all know how hard it is out there for ourselves at the moment, and I sort of think, man, if you're a single mum, you got these children, dad's fucked off, or dads are fucked off, you haven't had the opportunity because you got pregnant early, and their parents were, her parents are fucking struggling with addiction and shit like that as well. It's like,
I think men are the foundation of a happy home.
Yeah, even workplace, in the community.
Yeah, we are. And, I don't want to take anything away from the women, but that's why I love the whole healing process, and, just pointing men in the direction for their healing journey. Because, like, what I learned from holding space for my mum is there was a lot of trauma between us, and I'd gone on my healing journey, but I wasn't fully healed until she healed. So, like, a lot of women can be broken from men, a lot of men can be broken from women, but it's the beauty of steering people into their healing journey, and then they pass on the message, and it just keeps spreading. The world gets better. A happy home is a happy man. A happy man is a happy home, I should say.
And so where does that man start, man? Like, I guess, and I ask this a lot on this podcast, so where does this man start? He's sitting at home. He may not even have, he may not be in substance. And,
fucking breathe.
Yeah, true.
Fucking breathe.
Get among a community, man.
Yeah, learn to breathe, man. Get into that holy tropic breathwork.
Get a better vision of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to start, just listen to audiobooks. It's the easiest way to start. You don't have to know how to read. Yeah. Just listen to them.
Where's a good start on an audio
Just
book?
go to Audible. Go type in motivational books and find the book title that speaks to you. Because the book I tell you to read, you might not resonate with, and then say you don't like books. But you just didn't like that book. So find the book that resonates with you. Maybe like for the people who follow your stuff, it'd probably be David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me or something like that, real motivation.
The Way of the Superior Man's a big one.
It's a great book too, David Data.
But you are right though, man. Like sometimes I've been recommended books, and at the time it wasn't right for me. And then like 2 years down the track, I'm like, fuck, that was the best book ever. But
you grow into them.
Yeah, you got to find where you are in your journey.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And books changed my life. I listened to books the same way I listened to Garry when I was 19. Whatever the book told me to do, I did. Whatever Garry told me to do, I did. And I became really successful in either career choice. I just didn't second guess the master. I knew they knew better than me, so do it. So you got to choose your mentors.
I've got a question for you, my brother.
Yeah,
Brodie. So before you said, this is a deep question, but where else to get it, So before you said you're a chameleon, I totally agree with that. I've seen you adapt to your surroundings. 9 out of 10 times. You probably know what I'm going to ask. But so who do you think you really are? Are you the bad guy that went good, or are you a good guy that used to be bad? Do you know who do you think that real person is underneath?
I think I'm just that hurt kid trying to heal so I don't hurt others.
Yeah.
But I think I got lost along the way trying to feel loved.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But I think I am who I want to be.
Yeah.
And that can change.
Yeah.
But I want to be a good person. I want to be a good father to my son.
Yeah.
Because
beautiful.
Like what you're saying before, my girl was a single mum, raised a kid on her own. Dad was never there. I met her. She already had a son. He was 5. And I struggled with it, because maybe I'd get frustrated or something like that. And then I'd start feeling like my dad, because my dad was always angry, and then I didn't want to perpetuate that cycle. And I thought maybe I'd be a shit father, and I really struggled with it. But now, a lot of the work that I do, every time I do breath work or I go on a ceremony, I went and lived in Peru in the Amazon, ayahuasca, all the rest of it. It was always that little boy that came to me, her son. So I had some real special experiences. Me and my partner actually broke up for a year, and it was the hardest thing in the world for her, and it ended up being the hardest thing for me. And I went and traveled to try to find myself and do all these ceremonies. And when I did plant medicine in Peru, I thought I was going to have a totally different experience. But what I got was 7 hours of her little boy in my vision of what it would be like if I just accepted him as my own instead of looking at him as a burden. Instantly I come out of that and instantly knew I am able to love him as much, if not even more than my girl. He's not a burden. Let's fly back to Australia. And so now I just have to keep healing for that.
That's what I mean about plant-based medicines and breath work and that. Like, it gives you clarity. I got it. That resistance is like, man, just break that resistance. It's fine. Lean into it. It's good. Bring it on.
Yeah.
I relate to that question a lot, man, and I get asked it. Like my partner just asked me the other day, of like, but I've always had this big heart.
Yeah, and you know what? I noticed that on the weekend when we were on the pads, when you breathed. I've seen. Yeah, you've got plenty of fire in you, don't you?
Yeah,
100%. You do.
Got heaps of fire. I've done a lot of bad shit in my life and all that, but it was never me, man.
Yeah,
it was never me, bro.
Yeah,
and fucking, and and now I think the way I can truly be myself is I'm allowing myself to be love, brother.
Yeah.
Be kindness, be strength, be dominant, lean into being vulnerable too, man. In a relationship, I was 5 years single, and this new relationship I'm in now, it's the most scariest thing. I avoided it for so long because I'm like, fuck, am I going to do this again? I knew I had to do heaps of work myself. But it's beautiful to go into it now, the man that I am, because it's allowing me to I'm going in as a different person, man. I'm allowing myself, this new identity of myself. I don't know if it's a new identity. I think it was always there. It was just that my upbringing has made me,
for sure,
gave me those masks and things.
I think serving others is beautiful. That's something I've had to learn to do. I don't think anybody's born bad at all. I really don't. I become a nasty piece to work for sure. I was a product of my environment. In saying all that, I think I was just seeking validation in the wrong ways. It was my lower self, and greed and power, materialistic shit, desire. That's all a lower vibration. So that's the world I was in. Now where I am today, I've had to learn to love. I think I've always had a big heart, but I had to teach myself to love. I love not hurting people, I love helping them, and it all comes.
Receiving love?
I'm not there yet, Dave. Yeah, I'm not emotionally available. Friends and family, yes, but I've got so much healing to do. So many toxic relationships. Girlfriend's not for me just yet. I'm still on my healing journey. And if I will never write off true love. But if I ever step into a relationship, I'd have to make sure she's done plenty of healing herself. And I've definitely done my fair bit. But yeah, I'm not emotionally available for women. I practice celibacy, because I just want to control my world. But yeah, where I'm going with what I was saying is, so serving people is everything. And where that comes, I've gone really super spiritual in the last few years. Behind the scenes of social media, I'm on a hella spiritual journey. And karmic debt's everything to me. I believe I've done my homework. I believe I'm an old soul, and I believe in reincarnation. And so, I need to serve others. So I need to do more good than I've done bad. You can serve yourself all you want, but are you going to evolve after this life?
Is Hope Cartel you healing the past
100%.
and doing your part?
100% it is. Yep.
Yeah, cool.
100% it is, bro.
And that's your purpose.
Yeah, that's my purpose, my self-worth.
Because we talk about that a lot on this podcast as well. It's like finding that purpose, And
I went from dope dealer to now I'm hope dealer. Eventually, as I follow on with my journey, I believe I'll go from dealer to healer. So I'll move past a hope dealer. I'm still just adapting those old skills into a positive environment. I deal hope on the daily, and that's what Hope Cartel is. But eventually, once I fully align myself with the universe and come back to self more and more and more, align with my true spirit, my true journey, I will be a healer, 100%. So it'll be from dope dealer to hope dealer, from hope dealer to healer.
How far away do you reckon that is? If you had to put, I know the universe has always got a different fucking.
I think I'll be on this spiritual journey for double figures before I really fucking align myself properly. Yeah. I'm only a couple of years in. I'll go November. I'll be 3 years sober. So yeah, I'm fresh fish, man. As we would say, I'm green as. I'm just doing my apprenticeship. Yeah. But I got off the line pretty well.
You're doing fucking awesome, bro. And Brodie, like having you guys there part of the event yesterday. I just keep going back to it, bro. It's just fucking powerful way. But having you guys there, man, and your story and like what you shared to the boys, and also seeing them all just zoned in on it, man, was just magic, bro.
Thank you, bro.
What you're doing on socials as well, bro.
It was an honour to work with you lads, man. It really was, you know. And that's Brodie's first time holding space.
Yep.
And I think he was due for that. I really do. I've known Brodie a long time,
How was it?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
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 It's different seeing it. I mean, I would have loved to see it from your guys' point of view last night. Like especially, you saw me.
Yeah. No, it was good. No, I really enjoyed it because I love to give.
I think it was calling him. I think it was calling you. I really do think it was calling him because the Friday night we did a private session. Yep. It was about 10 of us or something with Liam at Namasteam.
Yep.
We did after that we did ice bath and then we did sauna. And
it's a wicked spot down there.
Oh, it's great. Love it, guys. If you're in Perth, go to Namasteam. Awesome location. And Brodie was. We were on a new journey. So the new journey was called From Fury to Freedom, Sacred Rage. And it wasn't an emotional journey. For me, it was a really empowering. I come out of there with strength, ready to go get life.
Breathwork session.
Yeah, breathwork session. So, yep. So that was it was a different journey to the one you did, the Let It Go. And Brodie actually come out of it. I said, how'd you go? And he goes, for the first, 10 minutes, I was worried about what other people were doing in the room. I said, that's your calling, man. You need to hold space, and for sure. And so it was great for seeing. He was like, when we were at the event yesterday, he was like, I can't breathe. No, come here. You know what I mean? I said, come here. You'll be right. I really wanted to see him hold space.
That was cool, man, because it was the opposite for me. Because I was thinking I was going to facilitate again. I really just sat back on that fucking event, man.
Yeah.
And just let everyone do the work. I felt like I was a part of it, and I guess that was my intention too. It's my intention with the starting line as well, man. It's just bringing a community. No one's, you mentioned it in your talk yesterday as well. No one's higher than anyone else, man. We're all on the same level.
100%.
No matter what you're doing on the outside world. I guess what I'm trying to create with the starting line is building that community of brothers and women as well. I want to have these women's events as well eventually.
Sure.
Once the board gets up and start getting the right funding and that.
100%.
Part of the breath work, I was meant to do the breath work yesterday. And when I came out of it, the breath work, the universe told me, what we put on yesterday, man, I'm going to get funding for it.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a fucking road tour, man. We're going to try and get as many boxing gyms and that on board around Australia and fucking just go and deliver that to as many fucking Australian men.
What you envision, Dave, 100%. It's been calling me. I've spoke to other lads in the space and they've been having the same visions. Yeah. It is a no-brainer, and I'm going to go deep with this. I believe it's a bunch of light workers that are in Australia, all across Australia, and we are meant to come together and spread the message of healing to to the mass, you know.
There's a huge awakening with it, isn't it?
100%, bro. I've been feeling it for a few years now, and just like so many people in the space of, you know, and we've all got our different skills and power that we bring to the table. But eventually, I think it will all come together. I don't know how, but I think I believe it will.
Yeah, it is.
I can feel it in my soul, you know. And it's stuff like yesterday. It's just a networking in the background. Eventually, someone's going to have to puppet master the whole thing and take a big step and go, you know what? I need 12 of you all to come together.
Is like there's the highest out.
Yes,
you can feel it. Like and for those who are listening as well, man, I reached out to you guys, and this is credit to you, bro, and Brodie. I mean, you jumped on board as well, bro.
Yeah.
Man, like there's no hesitation. It was almost like it was always going to happen. It was like you were waiting for the phone call.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you, Dave. I'm coming over, man. I've got my flights booked. Fucking bang, bang. Next thing's it's happened, you know.
And Brodie was the same. He said yes straight away. He said it yesterday in the event. He said, you know, I'm just always used to saying yes to this type of shit.
People have got to say yes. They've got to say no to drugs.
Yeah.
But they've got to say yes to opportunity.
Yeah.
Every time. Things will change. Same like when you were thinking about the event that you're going to put on and wasn't really sure, because we're never really sure when we take on a big challenge. It all worked out. You know, worked out so good. You got to do breath work while the breath work was on. Like everything aligns. It's the same thing when I started my business. I didn't know who the first person I was going to sell a fucking water ionizer to. I wasn't even interested in my health at the time. You know, I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I just took action anyway, because nothing's worse than staying in the same spot. And when you take action with courage, the universe, they move things in your, you know, for you. You know, it's got your back, the wind's underneath your sails then. But you just got to try. You know, you got to believe before you see it. If you wait until you see it to believe it, it'll never happen. You got to take action with faith.
The journey and the vision that I'm on, man, it got all shown to me. And it's about surrendering, letting go, and just doing what you can. Doing the possible and letting the impossible do itself. And so setting up this charity and everything, man. I mean, we've got a gala on the 9th of November that we're trying to get 200 people to as well, man. Huge funding. I need huge funding because I'm going to put this Australian tour on. But however it works, I don't know. But, you know, I want to have these hubs all around Australia, man, where we're putting on workshops like this so people can just reach out. And I want to fund these boxing gyms that are doing all the work, man, getting them in. You know, these kids need to get into a place and be around a good community, you know. Anyway, but putting on this men's event, I mean, I put a few small events on. Like we run 25-hour-long marathons within gyms trying to raise money for the charity and stuff as well. But every single time it's like this nervousness of coming up, man, where I'm like, fuck, I'm out of my depth here. What are you thinking? You're off your fucking head, man. Like, you know, and having these second thoughts, but it's like, nah, I'm just trusting in the unknown. I know this is what I've got to do. Keep stepping up. And then there's days, like I said, where I'll come back and I'll have a few beers to wind my brain down because I'm that fucking scared of what I'm doing. But then it's like, nah, cut that shit out, man. You got to keep standing up, moving forward. And yeah, bro. And then so there's a guy called Luke Kalani does sound healing, and he has these cards up the front. And I wasn't really into this cards and the spiritual stuff when I first started doing this sort of work, you know. And anyway, I went up there and I just, you know, put my hand along, asked him how to do it. Which one do you feel connected to? I pulled it up. It's called the Sky Father, and at the bottom of it, it says trust in the unknown. And that was the first time. That was sweet as. Then I went back 2 months later, done a sound healing, went up to the cards. I thought, I'll do it again, you know. Went across, that one. It was the Sky Father, trust in the unknown. And then we put on and I'm still having these feelings of surrender and like just lean into it. You're on the right journey, Dave. Just trust it, you know. Because when you get brought up a particular way, you know, the way we measure success is through money or material things, where this, I'm measuring it off, who am I helping, or, you know, so I'm measuring this sort of success off different things, so it's hard to trust in it. Anyway, we done a sound healing just a couple of weeks back in the Good Vibes boxing gym, and I thought, fuck, I'll go up there again, and I went like this, and I put my hand along, and I go, I'm connected to that, and I go, no, it's not that. I pulled that aside and got this one underneath. It was the Sky Father again, saying trust in the unknown. And I've gone and showed it to Luke, and I've just gone, fuck, if that, you can't call that a coincidence.
No,
there's me. Right. There's someone just saying, what aren't you fucking getting about just, you're on the right track, man. Just trust in the unknown.
That resonates with me heaps.
And sure enough, bro, like the men's event, man, you know, I can remember talking to you earlier in the piece, and it's like, fuck, I've only sold 4 tickets, bro. I'm like, I'm even feeling a little bit embarrassed of you guys coming over and thinking, fuck.
It all come together, didn't it?
And then next minute we got 35 fucking people, men, all there, all showing up, bro. And then I'm just looking back and I'd had this little message in the breathwork I was doing, and that's why I thought I had to do the breathwork. It was just my eyes have come down. It was almost like I fucking told you, man. Like, what the fuck? Just trust.
You got the card 3 times.
Yeah,
listen.
Yeah. What are you understanding, motherfucker?
So hearing all that, my question is to both of you. That's something. So that trusting the unknown and the journeys we're on and letting go of what. So this is a question that keeps coming up over and over again. I asked you that, and I asked everybody I asked everybody this question. I think I know the answer. It just hasn't fully come to mind yet. But I like to ask because it shows me where you are in your journey. How do you separate? Obviously, being in the present is where the peace is at, and obviously manifesting is hyper focusing on what's next. How do you separate the two? How do you separate manifesting the future and what your next goals are, and just like almost fantasizing about them to a point where they come to reality, but also staying at peace in the present? Like, where's that balancing at?
Fucking good question.
So if you go off the book Psycho-Cybernetics, which was like one of the more original personal development books, is your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real event and an imagined event. And you want to train your body for success. And when you're thinking about all the things that can go wrong and you're pessimistic, you're going to manifest that in your life because that's what you're thinking about. But you also don't want to think too much about the journey towards where you're going, because the mountain can seem so big that if you feel like you're not getting any closer, you're going to give up. So you need to be very clear on what it is that you want to create. And it needs to be something that's realistic, but also a stretch, because you want to stretch yourself to get there. But you just want to visualize the final result, how good it will feel and the feelings that you're going to have when you're there. And you want to see yourself like a movie, right? That it's happening. So you know exactly the direction you want to go in. Like a missile, you have to program that missile which way it's going to get there. And occasionally it's going to go off course, but that's how it knows how to get back on the course. But it has to go off course to know. So all you got to do is give it the final destination of where it's going. Then you need to just detach and just do what you can every single day. And you're going to get there.
And be specific. Like even with that men's event, even though there's only 4 tickets there, sold, I still visualize everything that happened on Sunday yesterday, more or less happened in my mind.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I was very specific about the schedule. Who's going to be there? It's going to be powerful. It's going to be, and feeling that energy inside yourself. I also like the fact of, and then from there on, it's just micro steps, man. Like you get so even with this journey, my vision for the starting line's huge, and it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, but it's like, even though my mind can go there, I can go here, and I've got hubs all around Australia, starting line hubs, and we're running workshops and everything else. I can go there visually, mentally, like I can get myself there, but mate, if the universe just picked me up right now and dropped me there, there's no way I can fucking handle that.
Yeah.
I need to go through these little processes, like having people call me up and fucking you guys coming over and conducting it, holding myself, man, in front of these men as well. There's work that I've got to be done. So it's also appreciating all the little gratitude as well, man. It's like you're showing the universe, nah, man, I'm here, I'm standing up, I'm happy where I am. You're attracting more. Being present with it, man. I think like I'm very big on like walk that person who you want to be, man.
Yeah.
You might not be it right now, but fucking walk it.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
You might not have the suit and tie and the fucking Maserati in the fucking garage, but fucking own it. Jump in your car and feel that fucking that's a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Feel it, bro, because it'll happen.
Yeah. That's what they call the be, do, have. You got to be that person, do what they do, and then you'll have what they've got. Don't wait until you have the success to start acting like a successful person, because you'll never have it.
Yeah.
And it's not really a make-believe thing either, eh? Like I feel like, and you got to take those micro steps to actually truly believe it as well. Because it's very hard to go, fuck man, I've got $1 million.
Yeah.
When you fucking can't even put petrol in your car.
Mm.
But they're the testing times, I guess.
But if you can't at least see yourself with $1 million, you're never going to take the first step.
Yeah. I'm mashed, so not being, had fuck all schooling growing up and all that. So I don't know if this is the reason, but I'm very visual. Yeah. I read visual. I got to see pictures. Like I'll open up the newspaper and I know what's going on by just looking at it. Yeah. I can't read that well. And even now, so I'm very visual about how I do things.
Yeah.
And I think, really when you think about it, we've been programmed. What 1 is 1 and 2 is 2 and 3 is 3. And means and this word means that. Visually is similar, but I feel like vision's got more impact on
and
so
feelings as well.
Yeah, so like if you do a vision board, feelings huge, bro.
Energy, that's never lies to us.
Yeah. And as we know, like when you visualize something, what that emotionally makes you feel, we need to change those emotions to be high levels of energy.
Yeah. I used to go to display homes when I was broke. I was broke, living on a farm, share housing, couldn't pay the rent. My car would break down at the traffic lights. And I used to drive after work or on the weekends to display homes, to really expensive houses that I've never been in before. And I would just walk through them and I would just feel the smell of it, the not sitting on a comfortable couch. It's got its own office, the master bedroom that overlooks an oval and stuff like that. And I'd spend half a day going through all these different beautiful homes, just trying to feel like what it would be like to end up there. Like trying to give myself something to work towards. And when I started my business doing what I'm doing now, I had the vision board. I went to Amart, I bought a $100 desk, and then I would print out pictures of the BMW that I wanted, print out pictures of the house I wanted. I had from the book The Magic by, I think, Rhonda Byrne. It's got the magic check where you write yourself a check for how much money you want to make and by which date. I had that on there. I want to make $20,000 a month by X date. Like I had everything on my board long before I'd created any success, long before I made a single sale online. And I achieved all of those things and more that were on my vision board. Yeah. But I mean, some people slap a bunch of things up on their board and then they don't take action because they let fear get in the way. But
yeah, well, this podcast is a good story of that. Like, so I had the vision of this. I didn't have social media, man. I couldn't be on camera. My self-worth.
Yes.
Didn't know how to interview, man. Like, so all of this. Didn't know how to work electronics. Didn't know how to interview people. No experience, man. Yeah. But I just knew I had a message that I wanted to give. I just listened to myself and my calling. Bro, I went out and bought some gear, learned how to do it, how to put it all together. What's YouTube? How to fucking post that? How to, all this sorts of stuff. And I'm out of my comfort zone, man. My first interview was with my cousin and I just sweaty palms. And I still get nervous now, but I couldn't have this heartfelt interview with you guys and be as present as I am now if I hadn't have done all those little steps at the start, man. All those shit little podcast, those interviews I do. And even I know this is a stepping stone to something greater, but you need to keep walking through these doors to get to that bigger door of what you visualize it being, and trusting in it, man. You just got to go and do it. Go and buy that fucking camera. Go and buy these speakers. Go and hit up Gaz and say, come over here on my podcast. He might not get there now, but by reaching out, eventually he'll get there. If you believe it enough that your podcast is going to be fucking big, it will become big.
Well,
I guess it's a little bit like your social too, bro.
Yeah, and for sure, man. Like, I can't believe where my social media is at now.
Like for a second, when I told you, hey, you've got a real brand here. If you create these videos, it might take off. Subconsciously in your brain, even if you weren't trying to think about it, would have been a visual of what it would look like to have your account blown up, or a video. This is 100,000. Like your brain would have seen that for a second and then gone, all right, let's try it.
Yeah, for sure. Going back on being successful, I think this is like a good conversation. I want to hear your views on it. It's because when I've had money in life, it tarnished who I truly am. It made me as a person from where I come from, it made me greedy. It made me nasty. I was in a dirty business. Your hands had to get dirty. I have resentment about that person. Like I said, I wouldn't change it, but I have resentment on that person I was. So I think now I'm scared. If I got $1 million tomorrow, I'm scared it's going to make me feel entitled or change who I am. And but in saying that, I know for a fact that the more money you have, the more people you can help. So that's a balancing act I'm learning,
Another great question. Bro.
Yeah, it is. Like, how, and I think, Brodie, you've got this down pat because I've watched Brodie have the M3 and have the nice things. And now, he'll wear a pair of shoes he's been wearing for 6 months and doesn't care. Do you know what I mean? He went and bought a 4-wheel drive, just a family car. Do you know? I watched him like downgrade his lifestyle as his bank account went up. And I think he proved to himself, and then now he sort of humbled himself. I love that because and that's why I don't want it overnight. I believe I've got to work hard for it because I definitely, if I had $1 million, I'd invest it in healing centers 100%. Like those hubs you're talking about, they'd be everywhere, drop-in centers for people to heal in that holistic space. But in saying all that, I don't know if I deserve it tomorrow. I think it's going to take years, We'll see what happens. I just don't.
I think you're right though, bro.
I'd hate to have a full account and then it take away from who I am today.
It's fair, bro?
Yeah, like, but Brodie's a good example of that, you know.
I think that's just your money story.
Yep.
You know, a narrative you've made up about money.
Yep.
What you've seen from a young age.
Yeah.
You couldn't get money by doing the right thing. Your mum was doing lots of the right thing, didn't have none.
Yeah, of course.
So you got to do bad things to have it. So money must be bad. But that was just your world in Melton, what you seen of income.
Yeah.
The money wasn't the problem, you were.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay.
you've changed.
Yeah.
So the way you'd use money would change too.
Yeah.
And you just said if I had $1 million, I'd open up a bunch of healing centers. Well, people deserve that.
Yeah.
You know, and you can do that now.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait a special period of time before you can get rich.
Yeah.
Right. It's just going to happen when it happens. But don't self-sabotage it because you don't think you can handle the money and you're going to do something wrong with it. You're not the same person now.
Yeah.
I know what you mean though, Gaz.
Thank you, bro.
Because I go like, you know, when I had a business that was across Australia, man. You know,
Yeah.
Like went through summer, mate. I was turning over $1 million a month.
Yeah.
And you know, I turned into a pig. You know what I mean? Like I was fucking out, doing all the wrong shit. Lost my family through it, fucking myself. You know, I was still a good guy, and I come from a good place. I'm still the same guy, but I didn't go and do any of this shit with it.
Yeah.
Where I could have, and that's why been one of my biggest guilt and shames. I mean, I spent on holidays and first class flights and fucking traveling and shit like that, and cocaine and fucking all the rest of it. But I did do the right thing. So I'm scared as well. Like there's that part, and I guess that's the healing journey of it. You know, like we're not the past, bro.
Yeah.
But we bring it into the now a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes unconsciously, a lot of unconscious thoughts and patterns there as well. But I'm going through that as well, man. You know, it's sort of like, fuck, if I had that $1 million, fuck it, I want to be that.
Yeah.
You know,
but
really
Brodie's right. It is our story, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's our old story. It's not our new story.
But we're scared of it, bro, because
I suppose you know what it comes down to? We hadn't healed before we had that money. That's what it comes down to, I think, after hearing you say that.
But it's cool to hear Brodie say what he said because it's there. The abundance of it's there.
Yeah.
We just need to
It's
call
endless. They print it out. You go to the ATM. If it's in you got the digits in your account, just print money.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of it.
Yeah.
There's heaps of money in this world.
Yeah.
You just got to have something that can provide enough value.
Yeah.
People have got money.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got the right service. And we deserve to be paid if we help people.
Yeah.
That's okay to be paid. There's nothing wrong with it.
I think for me as well, like I've had all the flash stuff as well, you know, and I was literally speaking to my partner this morning as we were walking around the river. It's like, man, I'm happy. I'm happy wearing these shorts that I've had for fucking 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, like I like to buy myself new things, and I don't want to wish. Like I want a nice car. Fuck it. I've had no car for the last 5-6 months because I spent every last cent in doing this, putting it into this.
Yeah.
I'm working on a construction site, trying to get as much as I can money to pay the rent and everything else, but also my passion's the starting line. I just know at some stage it's going to give. You know, but you need to find that gratitude in what we've got right now as well, because we all know when you get that thing that's going to make you happy or do that thing, it ain't the answer. The answer is being fucking happy with who you got now.
Well, it's the journey.
Yeah.
The journey is the most enjoyable part of it. You end up getting to that thing you're working towards, and you're like, if you don't have a next journey planned, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the journey is the most fun
That's
part.
You're
anyway.
just striving for more, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know,
We're a striving machine as a human.
Yeah.
That's what we're meant to do.
And I think, like, going the first question you asked, I think that's where it comes down to being present, gratitude. You know, fuck, right now, bro, like, there could be a fucking war going on outside, man. We're solid right now.
Yeah.
We're happy, man. We're,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Life's good in that.
Life's fucking good, bro.
Man, it is. It's all the rest is. It's all trivia shit in that.
Yeah.
It is 100%. I say that we're living. That's the main thing. 100%.
I mean, it would be nice to go out there and we've all got our Lamborghinis parked out. Fucking, you know, it would be fun. But then we'd only be looking for the next fucking car.
You know, I respect. I respect those people. The type of person that makes millions and millions of dollars, and then you know, Brodie's half the example of it. You know, but I'm talking like multi millionaires, and they leave it all behind. Not leave it behind, but then they go back to like bare necessities. And they head to a buttfuck island, and they their sandals and shorts and singlet, and they eat rice and drink water, live in a straw hut, and then provide running water in a village, or save stray dogs, or build an orphanage. And they've got the butlers, they've got the gardeners, they've got the Lambos, they've got the fleeted jets, they've got the $1 million mansion. Not that they've give it away, but they just go back to the raw, those raw ingredients for life and help humanity. Like that type of human is huge to me.
Do you feel like that's the only way you can be rich and be a good person for yourself? That it has to be either one way or the other. Either I'm making money selling drugs and it's evil, or I'm on a mountaintop, like healing everybody, and then that's okay? Like, do you feel like you could be
You
right
know
there
me
in the
pretty
middle?
damn well. What do you think?
I think that you're a good human being and you deserve to have money and that you'll do the right things with it.
Yeah.
And someone like you, instead of having an Audi or a Lamborghini on your vision board, it should just be a charity center or a healing center.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
it, Gaz.
Yeah, we'll get
Get
there.
it.
100%. We'll make
You'll
it
get
happen. 100% we will.
But that car, the car that I had, I didn't even want that car. I barely even, you're like telling me I've got some race car. I didn't even know what it did. I bought it because I knew other people would care.
He didn't even take it to the track. He didn't even use
It's got
launch
some
control.
drift mode, launch mode, fucking stupid
Have
thing.
you still got it?
No, I sold it because I was going to end up just getting in trouble driving. It was too fast. It was too fast. And every time I looked at it, I thought, this is costing me so much money because I can put that money into a house and that house is going to make me millions. This is losing me 10 grand a month when I own it. And I'll end up losing my license.
You know, like, so I had a brand new Sahara, man. I paid $140,000 for it. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
But I just trashed it, man. I went over curbs, fucking drink driving, everything, man. Like the person that brought it when I went into bankruptcy, he would have thought he was getting a deal, but if he knew where that fucking thing and what it done. But anyway, I got donated a car from my mate just the other day. It's an old Commodore. And, mate, I drive around thinking it's like a Ferrari, mate. I feel so fucking more grateful to have that old Commodore than I did the Sahara. Not that I want the Sahara back at some stage, man.
Nice.
But it was a beautiful car. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, you can feel those same emotions regardless of what car you have, man.
I suppose the conversation here and what we've got to say here in Brodie's perspective, yours and my thoughts is it's a balancing act of being in a business of helping people, but also, you know, a byproduct of that is you're comfortable. Because, like, I could still hope me and my dog don't have a roof over our head. Like, I could help people to the point where I don't have any shoes on my own feet. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, take my shoes, man. You're homeless. Take my shoes. I've got none. So I suppose it's a balancing act of giving and receiving, you know. It is. It's definitely a balancing act. And I'm learning that, you know, because I fucking give a lot. But I know I need to serve for the sake of my soul moving on to a better place, you know, that reincarnation cycle. I need to serve plenty because I need to help more than I've hurt, and I've hurt a hell of a lot of people.
Do you think there's any chance you've already helped more people than you've hurt?
It's a good question, man.
This is like a counselling session, eh? I like this.
I've helped a hell of a lot of people.
You know most of the people you hurt. You don't know half the people you've helped.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because I've definitely got a way bigger clientele dealing hope than I ever had dealing dope.
Yeah.
Like, and I push some weight. Fucking know if I push some weight, but fuck me. The amount
I like what Jeffrey
you
Morgan...
wouldn't have a tick list long enough for all the people you've helped now.
Nah, not at all.
Like Jeffrey Morgan said it really well, man. That sort of opened up, like, my mind to it.
Shout out to Jeff.
Yeah,
He's a gun.
Jeff, fucking legend, man.
Yeah, he's a gun.
And
another Kangaroo warrior on you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hey,
but you know, like we can't focus on the past, man. The past was like whatever we'd done in the past was a makeup of what tools we'd been given, man.
Yeah.
You know, and because I hold a lot of guilt and shame in the past. Well, I used to, dealing a lot with it now, you know, and getting through it. But we can't reflect back there. And he said, you know, like those people that he traumatized with holding guns to their head and robbing banks and whatnot. Like, of course, he's sorry, you know, like, but he said he's not sorry about it now because he's need to move on with his life. But if any of those people reached out to him, of course, man, he'd do anything, bend over backwards to just give him whatever they needed because that's the man that he is today. But we can't let that define who we are today and now. It's unfair to ourselves, man. You know, it's the same message that will probably get a lot of people in prison too, man.
Can't let it get in the way of our true journey, eh?
No.
I get that.
Yeah.
But some people feel like the only way they can reset their karmic debt is if they keep punishing themselves over and over by feeling guilty for it. You know, not that that's the solution, but that almost makes them feel better by feeling that guilt because it feels like that's the only way they can repay their dues, but that's not the way.
Fuck, it's a huge topic, eh?
Yeah.
It is. It is, my bro.
Who were you, Garry, in your late 20s? Who was Garry without the violence?
I was definitely very, very loyal to my family. Yeah, as you know, I brought up my brothers, especially my younger brother, you know. He didn't have no male role model apart from myself. My dad was here a little bit there and there. My brother had never met his dad. My younger brother had a bit more of an influence. Mum's boyfriend and stuff. His dad a little bit. He had my younger brother. So, you know, and you know the way I brought up them boys. Like, you know, they weren't allowed to smoke. They weren't allowed to drugs. You know, they had to go to work.
Were you dealing them hope?
Yeah, I was, bro. Yeah, my family were like, there was a whole different. You probably think the guy I was that I'd be like, hey, you know, this and that. Now, if we were going for a car ride on a mission, my brother was never invited. You know, no fucking chance. I remember something happened to one of my little brothers, and one of my closest mates, he jumped in the car with us, and he'd had a child, so he was a working dad, and had a kid, which is my godson, and he said, man, it's family, bros. I'm coming along for this ride. I said, get the fuck out the car. He said, excuse me? We sort of had an argument. He said, you won't tell me what to fucking do. I said, mate, I live and die for this shit. I nearly think I fucking got through the brakes. But, you know, you're a dad. I'm not going to have that on me, that we're sitting in fucking prison and your son, you know, where's dad, you know? So I suppose take away the violence and the greed I had from the money from selling drugs. I did have a good heart, you know. I was a good person, you know. I always told you that it was fun. We're going to live the high life. Yeah, the money and the strippers and the cars and, you know, look at me, look at me. I said, but, you know, it's all going to go. I used to remind you of that all the time, didn't I? What goes up must come down. I said, we'll probably lose our life to prison or end up dead over this. But why we've got fucking plenty, let's fucking have a ball. Let's live that rock star lifestyle. And I used to remind you of that all the time. So I suppose outside of the violent me, I've always been authentic. I've always spoke from the heart. I've had no problem speaking the truth and how I really feel. And even in that environment, I kept it real, you know. Yeah. And I mean, in saying that, we've done plenty of breathwork sessions and workshops together. And his dad, Brodie's dad, come along to one. And I apologised to his dad, you know. Put him aside. I said, I'm sorry, you know. I'm sorry what I put your son through, you know. I was in a different place in life. And you know what he said? He goes, hey, you'll be right, he's a big boy.
I think that's it though, eh? It's just ownership's a massive thing, man.
Yeah, ownership, yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, you try and get all these men to these men's events and stuff, or breath work and that, until they're sick of their own smell of their own shit, like nothing ain't going to happen. We just need to get there, man. And it's not I know my healing didn't happen until I woke the fuck up and gone, no one's responsible for any of this. You know, I can say, oh, fucking my mum died when I was younger, or the way I got brought up and shit. Yeah, you can say that, but fuck it, you know, until you stop pointing out there and start pointing within.
Starts in here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it all starts here, man.
Ownership.
Yeah,
like you said, bro. Own your fucking shit, 100%. Like Jeffrey Morgan said, stop talking shit to yourself. You know, look yourself in the mirror and fucking own your wrongs, you know, and then fix them. You know what I mean? Like, so many people are pointing the finger. You know, like I said, I see people on the daily now and have a conversation with them. I look them up and down, and in my head, I'm thinking, fuck, you need breath work, cunt. You know, like, even just the post I did last night, which is going really well, of the boys on the mat, you know, screaming and crying, and we're holding space, and they're in that real moment. They're in their healing journey. And, you know, a bunch of comments. Anybody that comes through and comments any dumb shit on my posts, I block and delete them, because it's like I cut the cord. That's that negative energy. Get the fuck out of my world. You're not about what I'm about. I don't need you in my environment. But when I do, I have a conscious thought that fuck, you need breath work. You know what I mean? Like, if there's like, I remember one was get a grip. You know, that was the one this morning. It was like, get a grip, guys. Get a grip, mate. You need to get a grip and you do breath work, buddy. Block. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had one on. I mean, mine's. I can only imagine what it's like when you got heaps of followers like yours, man. But on my one, I had someone reach out and go, I wouldn't let my son resemble with anything that had a swear word in it, like big fuck in real. I was like, right, I can't.
Wow, you know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're not going to please everyone, eh?
No.
So I'm going to wind it up, but what do we, have we missed any messages, boys? I mean, we can go on for hours, I know. I'd love to have you guys back on here, and I'm sure you guys will be back on here at some stage soon, man.
I've probably missed a couple of messages. My phone's off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sweet. Do you want to message that guy that got a grip?
What's the message? Fuck, bro. Step into your healing journey. That's where it's at, man. Saved my life. You know? Step into that healing journey. And when it's like, I suppose, reps in the gym. You know, when you get results, you're going to tell old mate, fuck, I'm telling you, eating chicken and fucking pumping iron, sick. It's the same with your healing journey. As soon as you start to get a bit of clarity and it starts to lift off you, then you're going to tell someone else about it, which is a beautiful thing. And the elite that run this world, fuck me, if we keep singing to their song and dance, this world's going to implode one day. I don't know if it'll be in our lifetime, but it can't sustain. It's like the fucking streets that I come from. It's not sustainable. We've got a bunch of fucking sociopaths running the world that are driven by greed. They're such a low frequency and they don't give a fuck about us. We're just peasants to them. You know, the oil industry, tobacco, alcohol, big pharma, you know, it's fucking just yuck. And so I think our job and like I say, I believe we're light workers. You know, I believe our job is to raise the vibrational frequency, and that's by spreading the message of healing. And once you heal, you will, like I say, hurt people, but healed people, heal people. Yeah. So that's what I reckon. Just get out there and fucking make it happen for the next generations that are to come. To have, hopefully, I like to believe that one day we'll live in peace and harmony. You know. And that's from raising that vibrational frequency and everybody going on their healing journey.
For sure, bro.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
You're definitely leading the way there, Gaz.
Thank you.
And
you too, my brother.
Yeah, we're just doing it, brother.
100.
And your brother. Yeah, I would just say take a risk, whatever it is, whether it's business, whether it's healing, whether it's on a new partner, whether it's traveling the world. Just go out and do it. Life's short. You get one chance at it. The fact that you're even here, you won a race of 400 trillion to one, you know? Yeah. So you're a winner.
What do you mean by that? I know what you mean, but do you want to explain the 4 trillion to 1?
That's the chance of you being born.
Yep.
You know, so like you think that you're not special, you are. The fact that you're here, the fact that you're breathing means you've got more to give this world. And you can do anything. 10 years ago, I was broke. You know, I spent most of my life couch surfing, you know, addicted to drugs, fucking stealing cars, you know, like feeling like a piece of shit, having no confidence at all. I didn't come from money. I come from a broken home. Now I own 5 of them. You know, like I shouldn't be successful if anyone should be. So take a chance, take a risk, work on yourself and understand if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands, but you're going to have a crack.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, leaning into the unknown's huge, man.
Well, you already know the known, and if that ain't working, do something else.
Yeah, for sure. Well, once again, man, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming over here.
Appreciate it, man.
Being in WA. Been on the podcast, being part of the men's group, and just doing what you guys are doing, man. I fucking appreciate it. I love it. And yeah, man, we're all awakening, bro. We're all doing the work.
100%.
Yeah, cool.
Love your work,
Thank
Dave.
you, brother.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks for having us. Cheers, bro.